What's up, guys? So I built a new fighting rifle. 16-inch, full length. I guess not full length. You know what I mean? Standard length, 16-inch now. Used to be 20 some odd inches. Because, well, sometimes the little 300 Blackie just ain't gonna cut it, This is awesome if you're in a vehicle, which chances are I'll never be in that situation, or to use as home defense. I imagine it packs a way heavier punch at closer distances out of a barrel, such as this 10.5-inch. This one happens to be a Faxon gunner profile barrel. And it's very quiet. It's movie quiet. So I got the SilencerCo single prong muzzle device on it, and the can is not on this right now. It's on the big gun that is awaiting a new handguard. I'll get into that in a minute. So I built the 16-inch gun. So I built that 16-inch gun as a dual fighting rifle, right? The one that I'm gonna grab if SHTF and I got a GTFO. So I went with an LPVO, as you saw. I was also testing the waters of the LPVO world because I've always had an aim point or some kind of dot. I hate to say it, but hollow sun dots, which have outperformed what I expected them to do. I really, they're holding their own. I know they're Chinesium, but whatever. 16-inch gun has a Faxon pencil barrel, which I was concerned about running the can on it because it's a pencil barrel. I don't know, how much heat it's going to take. Obviously, I'm not shooting full auto, but we did run through 500-600 rounds at the night course, which I will also show, which taught me a lot about what I like about my gun that I put together and what I don't. So I assembled that gun just in time to make this low light rifle skill drills course. That was a ton of fun. I met some cool guys out there. This is at my local range. And I realized a few things. Okay, for starters, this cheap ass handguard is miles sturdier than the Wilson Combat handguard that was included with the receiver set that I got. So this had to go, immediately had to go. So this has, let me put this rifle down. This has this type of barrel nut where once you tighten it up, these holes have to line up with the holes on the handguard. And then the handguard is literally just held on by two Allen headed bolts and two Allen headed bolts here and here, right? Well, there's no sort of anti-rotation anything. So you got to tighten the piss out of this to keep that handguard from spinning, and obviously to keep your barrel in place, right? Most importantly. Well, the issue is that after I ran through all the shims, I installed first one shim. Obviously, at first I did it with no shims, tested my luck, wasn't lining up. I put a shim on. Long story short, I couldn't get this thing as tight as I would like and have it line up without it being kind of wonky. Now, these holes, it's kind of hard to tell, but they are they're kind of oval, so you kind of have a little bit of slot in them where you can obviously gain a little or lose a little or whatever and try and line it all up. So I got it as close as I possibly could, and then I had to run the handguard over a little. It wasn't wonky, but the holes weren't dead center, of the bolts. They were kind of offset. So the handguard was straight, but I knew in my mind that the bolts were touching on the bottom on one side and the top on the other, and immediately I didn't like it. All right. So, needless to say, after running about 300 rounds with a suppressor, shooting just 55 grain, 5.56, Winchester white box crap that I took with me to the range, that gun was really hot. And I had put Rockset on the barrel nut to keep it from coming loose, and a dab of Loctite on the bolts that hold the handguard. Well, halfway through the course, when I drop to prone and I bring up, I grab it, I feel it twist, and I'm like, okay, this is completely loose. So I got up, and the good thing is that it's crashing into my gas tube, so it's not letting it spin anymore, which is obviously horrible, but that's kind of what saved it. And I knew that barrel was in there tight because those receivers were Cerakoted from the factory. So it was a tight fit. I mean, it wasn't one of those, you know what I mean? I had put caps on the end and had to like bang the hammer in, the barrel. So I knew that it was going to be a pretty tight fit, and I finished the course. Well, okay, to be realistic, I put about another, 90 rounds. I probably went through another 3 mags, and then when he said, all right, everybody reload and whatnot, I went to the truck and I pulled out the 300 blackout instead, and I finished the course shooting 300 blackout. So the things that it taught me is, for starters, I had my weapon light mounted at the end, which makes sense because if you mount it further back, you're going to have this big shadowy spot when you cast your light out, right? But the pad I had also at the end because I'm used to shooting standing or kneeling, or even prone, but not in the dark. So once I went prone and I had to turn my light on, it was not as easy as you would think. So if you have a 16-inch gun, go give that a shot, See how difficult it is to reach the end of your handguard while you're laying prone and you're trying to get on target, right? It's not easy. Your gun's way out here and you're trying to reach out. So I had to, for those shots, turn my light on the way down into prone. So not using the pressure pad, now I'm leaving my light on just to be able to get those shots because my target was in the pitch black, the shadow of the berm. I mean, it was dark. Obviously, it was nighttime, but it was even darker where I was shooting because I was in the very corner of the range. So my light, the pressure pad placement is not going to work, is what I'm trying to get at. The handrail is not going to work. So I've ordered a Faxon handrail to replace that. Now, if you're just building a little bench rest gun, you don't plan on moving it, torquing it, whatever, this is going to be fine. This will be A-okay. But I figured, if I'm trying to build a fighting rifle, the one that I'm going to grab, I really want it to hold together, and if it can't make it through a 500-600 round course, that it's just not going to work. What else did I encounter that I hated? So the LPVO is great. It's not nearly as fast as this, right? I can find my dot so damn fast with just a red dot. The LPVO, which I'm going to keep, okay? I really like the LPVO. I like the idea of it. I can turn it on, and it's got like I bought the Sig Sauer MSR Tango, whatever it's called, the 1-6 model. And it's got a dot with a horseshoe around it, and that's the part of the reticle that lights up when you turn it on. So you can kind of use it as a quick target acquisition optic, and it works. However, and it works zoomed in, don't get me wrong. We were making some kind of precision shots on 1-inch circles, maybe 20, 25 yards out. Standing, though, obviously it's a lot harder than sitting on a bench and resting your rifle and just pointing it and pressing the trigger. So standing, plus we're sprinting, we're shooting prone, 2 rounds, kneeling, 2 rounds, stand up, 2 rounds, kneeling, 2 rounds, prone. I mean, you know, you're fatigued, you're getting tired, your heart rate's up, that rifle's shaking around, it's moving around. And I got to zoom in a little and cheat that way. It felt like cheating. Because with the red dot, which I'm used to, you ain't zooming in. And as you can see, I don't run a magnifier, but I mean, it's a Shorty 300 blackout, so I'm not going to put a magnifier on it. In a perfect world, it would have it. It doesn't have it. It's not going to happen. It's not a perfect world. So let me show you the few clips that I got from the night shoot, and it was very few clips. All right, so you saw me getting some malfunctions there at the end of that. Aside from the ammo that I told you I had packed, right, the Winchester 5.56, which I had no issues with, surprisingly, I had 4 mags that when I went looking through my safe, or well, really my closet, I was looking for any spare mags, right? So I knew I had 26 mags somewhere, and I could only find 22 mags. Now, I had more than enough to shoot this course. I mean, a lot of those guys just brought a handful of mags and kept refilling them, but I didn't want to have to be reloading while I was there. So I just loaded up all my mags the day before and threw them in a box that I carry them in, and just took them like that. Well, I found those 4 mags, and they had some archaic, we'll say, steel-cased ammunition. Now, I don't know if they were Tula ammo, Wolf ammo, they could have been some kind of bear ammo. I don't know. I don't know. I don't recall. I had 2 different types of steel-cased ammo. And as you saw, although, well, you couldn't see and I couldn't see. So clearing those malfunctions, clearing a simple malfunction in the dark is one thing, right? Also, I don't have it on me. I carry a flashlight that has like the 2-way clip, you know, it sits in your pocket, but you can clip it on your hat. Well, I had it on my hat. As soon as I had my first malfunction, I pulled it out and I clipped it on my hat. I turned it on. And that first malfunction was a weird stovepipe, right? I mean, it was in there. It wasn't like a stovepipe that I've had before. So I stripped the mag, I racked it. I grabbed the round after I could see what was going on. I turned my light on. I grabbed the round. I ripped it out. And, you know, we kept running drills. Next thing I know, I have another malfunction. I reach for my light. It's not there. So somewhere in the field of darkness, I lost my flashlight and my only hope for figuring out what the hell is going on with this rifle. It was darker than what the camera shows. All right. So I'm struggling here trying to clear this malfunction, and you know the whole crowd is like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. The other big mistake I made was on one of the first malfunctions I had, actually that I think it was that very first stovepipe. We're doing the box drill, and I'm walking and shooting, and I run out, And I go for my secondary, and I realize that while I brought my secondary, I did not bring my ammunition for my secondary. So I had an empty Glock. So that was no use. And then, you're dead. Get behind a barrel. And at that point, I was like, dude, like, fuck it. Just send the next guy. Let me figure out what the hell is going on with this. Fuck, I am dead. I'm dead. So the gun was there just for looks and added weight because it was useless. So we did a lot of offhand shooting. And, I'm used to at least switching shoulders. I've literally switched shoulders without switching grips. And I've switched grips depending on what we're doing, what the occasion is, right? But that is very difficult to do with an LPVO. I mean, much more difficult than it is with a red dot sight. If I can pick up my red dot sight with my right eye fast, I can pick it up almost fast with my left eye, right? And I have to force my eye closed because I'm right eye dominant. But on the LPVO, it is something else altogether because now you're trying to find this cheek weld that you have never practiced in your life with an LPVO, and all I see is a black screen the whole time, and it was infuriating, okay? So now, like I said, I'm keeping the LPVO. I like it. I just need more training. I need more lefty time shooting. So I'm going to get at it myself. I guess I'll post an update on the rifle after I reassemble it. But those are some things to keep in mind. If you're running a light, consider all the different positions that you might have to shoot in before you decide this is where this is going, right? Same goes for your foregrip. Finally, I couldn't think of it earlier. I called it a pistol grip, which is the rear grip, right? The foregrip, any of your gizmos and doodads that you're going to put on your gun, consider that you'll need to access them not just when you're standing. You might need them when you're prone, when you're on your back, when you're shooting from beneath a truck, when you're, when you're inside of a truck. You don't know. You don't know what the scenario is going to be, what the situation is going to be. So think about it, spend some time, and kind of mess with your gun. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. And don't sleep on the 16-inch guns, guys. I know the SBRs are cool. I know that the pistols are cool. But that 16-inch gun is A-okay.